Matchweek 11, City victorious over United at Old Trafford. 3 goals, 3 points as West Ham beat Liverpool to leapfrog them in the table. Arsenal stay hot, Chelsea slip up, manager sacked, and Norwich won. Everything will on Matchweek 11 as we head into the final international break until late January 2022. This is the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs. The ball in behind Darby and Bunny! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Wow, since the last time we podcast, there's been managers fired, managers hired. Crazy. It's only November.
It's insane.
It's insane.
What else is new from the Premier League, though?
That's true.
That's all we have is insanity.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, sometimes you expect it. Daniel Farke getting sacked. Sometimes.
I didn't expect that. I thought Norwich would just hold on to him forever. And they're like, no, this is fine.
That's true.
I saw something out of like his 300 possible points or 200 some possible points. He got like 40 or 50.
Oh, no.
That's why I thought they'd just hold on to him forever.
Pain.
Let's go to one who ended up getting sacked. Talking about Dean Smith's Villa's side, we have Southampton Villa, first game of the match week.
The sacked one.
To
Dean Smith.
the lineups we go. Southampton, Alex McCarthy and Kyle Walker-Peters, João Livramento, Tino Livramento, Salisu, Bednarak, Romeu, Ward-Prowse, Stu Armstrong, El Nuaci, the other Armstrong, Adam Armstrong, Shea Adams. So back to that. I don't know. They call it like a partnership, like a 4-4-2. I always think it's more like a 4-4-1-1, but
Yeah.
you know. To Villa's side we go. Emi Martinez, Matty Cash, Matty Target, Tyrone Mings back in there for you. Tanzebe instead of Konso he got a red, right? Or
Yeah,
was it?
he
No,
did.
it was okay.
Or was
Yeah, no, it wasn't House. It was Konso.
Konsa.
McGinn, Buendia, Marvelous, El Ghazi, Bailey, and Watkins. So just the one up top
Watkins.
for Villa as Danny Ings is out for, I didn't even see how long, but he's still out injured. I think it's going to be a couple months, maybe just a month.
See, that's the game you play when you buy Danny Ings. He might be good for a limited period of time, which, I mean, he hasn't really done that much.
No, he's
in all
been
honesty.
He's got a few goals.
Yeah.
And it's got him points.
Mostly earlier in the season, though.
Yeah. It doesn't help that the last time he scored was against Wolves and they blew a 2-0 lead.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I think this is the last time he played, too.
I do like the Southampton lineup they're rocking with. A little Che Adams, Adam Armstrong. I like it. Dynamic duo.
I think Southampton's defense is like the sneaky unit no one talks about.
It is so good, especially after they just sold like their first choice center back,
Yeah.
like right before the season.
And we had questions about that not bringing anyone in. And it didn't look great to start, giving up 3 to Everton. But no, Salisu's really establishing himself as a pretty solid center back. Bednarek's had moments, had a decent game. This game didn't do a ton, but no. And then the wide defenders. I mean, Perot hasn't been a bad signing for them, but Walker-Peters and Livramento have been so good. It's like you can only have Perot out there so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have 2 guys, Salisu and Livramento, that are like combined tackles and interceptions. They're both top 5 in the Premier League. So it's about all you can ask for out of Southampton.
Absolutely.
Speaking of signings for Southampton, 3rd minute, right off the bat, strange deflection in midfield, goes towards Villa's net.
Yeah.
Che Adams goes, I don't know, I think it was Mings. They're going for an aerial duel, and the ball kind of bounces out towards the edge of the box. Adam Armstrong.
It was actually Matty Cash.
Was it Matty Cash?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you think maybe he could have cleared that one, and then it kind of got away from him, and Adam Armstrong just rip it
Armstrong,
on the volley.
Johnny on the spot. This is just the stuff that you see from Villa lately where it's like it doesn't fully go their way, which is, I mean, it's one thing. But then no one's there to respond. There's just no like second level. Adam Armstrong's just in a perfect pocket of space to take on a shot. There's no, whether it be one of their holding midfielders kind of back further to contest it, or just another defender stepping up to get that ball. No one there. Adam Armstrong, just a banger.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that Villa look like they're low on confidence right now.
Yeah.
I mean, with the poor performances, you have red cards and whatnot, and just struggling to get results. Things started going downhill pretty fast.
It doesn't help when it's 3rd minute too on the road.
Yeah.
You're already not feeling well, and then you put yourself in a bigger hole.
Yep.
Yeah, and then, it goes on and they get chances and stuff, but there's so much pressure put on them. You feel like that they're really forcing it. I thought Buendia had a pretty decent first half in terms of creating chances. Didn't take it. Matty Cash too, going forward. I thought he was pretty good, but
yeah, I think the thing was about this lineup is you have Bailey and Cash on the same side, and Leon Bailey in the first half was
He's
not tracking back at all.
Yeah.
So, like you said, in that first goal, obviously he probably wouldn't have been there anyways, but it's kind of the same space that Armstrong's getting in that Southampton kept exploiting, was kind of down that flank where he continues not to track back and defend. And Matty Cash was just on an island.
Yeah. There's a few games like that this week where wide defenders were just constantly in 2-on-1s, and it's like, oh, man.
Yeah. So it's hard to look good defensively when you're put in that kind of position.
Yes.
I mean, my theory is like the best kind of defense is having more guys than
Get
the other
back.
team.
Yeah.
Like nothing super crazy technical. It's just like, okay, we have the number advantage. And
Yeah. If they beat us with individual skill, they beat us with individual skill, but at least
Yeah.
we got back and gave the effort. Another Southampton miss.
yeah, I just had to throw this one on there because we've just like every week it's like, clockwork. Stu Armstrong. You hate to see it from Stu, but 9th minute, skies one, 3 yards out. Ooh, he joins, he slides right into the Southampton side with their terrible misses.
It's just maybe Hasenhüttl trains them on that.
Yeah, he's like, okay, we're going to get really close and then hit it really hard and
I want
really
you
high.
shooting as hard as you can from like point blank.
The numbers are
Don't
that
place
it's
it.
probably going to go in. Just hit it hard.
Another thing with this in this first half, El Ghazi could have been sent off like 3 times.
Yeah, exactly.
That was great.
He gets the initial yellow card, and then 25th minute avoids a second yellow card, and then 35th minute avoids a 3rd yellow card. All of them could have been a second
I
yellow
think the
card.
best part is that one was like a tackle. That could have been the second.
Yeah.
And then another one was a dive. That could have been the second.
Yeah, exactly.
He was going for the variety of like dodging yellow cards. And even on the dive, he like dove, but then he like semi got up quickly. So
Yeah.
so the ref couldn't come over and give him a yellow.
Yeah, he was like trying to play it off like he just like
Oh, I
tripped
fell.
or
Yeah.
something. You're like, oh, dang.
Oh my gosh.
Just challenging the ref to get him sent off.
Was there anything else that stuck out to you in the first half?
Not really. Oriol Romeo had a decent chance from long range, go a little high. But, yeah, Southampton,
They dominated the midfield.
Yeah, we've
and a
seen
good
it.
amount of possession in this one.
We've seen it before, kind of where they get off to this good start and just control the ball. And I guess that's not really too surprising. And it's more just surprising the way that Villa were kind of defending against it and just letting it happen. Like, absolutely no pressure. You could tell at times, there were a couple times in this game where Salisu had a back pass.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like
Not
really close.
That great. Yeah.
And could have been stolen. But Villa was just not putting
the effort in. There's one
effort
even
in.
in the second half at like near the very end where it's like McCarthy wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
And it relied on like Bednarak to get all the way back. Like Villa had chances. And even in there, like when they were holding possession for the little bit that they had possession, but the little bit that they had possession, they were creating chances, but it just wasn't enough. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's like you can see that Southampton has the mistakes in them. You know,
Yeah.
if you just pressed a little bit, you might be able to find some success in that regards. But so pretty disappointing first half. The second half, they came out, they looked a bit better, which didn't take very much because they looked pretty bad in the first half.
Yeah.
Actually, the second half, Leon Bailey started to track back for some reason. I don't know why it took 45 minutes for someone to tell him to start tracking back, but
Yeah, I don't know. He's one of those guys where it's just kind of you don't necessarily expect him to do it, but he really should be because he's not some like elite level playmaking wing that he might think he is at times. So he needs to be doing that.
yeah, I think there are very few guys in the league that can actually get away with that. One of them being like Ronaldo.
Tanzebe.
Yeah, they're just really pushing for these last man back challenge red cards.
Oh my gosh.
What do you think, red card or no?
Yeah, I'd say.
I would say so. But it's just been kind of like hit or miss on these calls.
It's always
this
the
season.
ref. It's simple as it always comes down to that. I thought that in this second half it was a little more just kind of boring and kind of felt like Southampton was going to grind it out, which they've kind of been trying to do lately. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if I like their defense, but I don't know if I feel safe with like shut up shop and just kind of
exactly.
You know. But it's not like they're completely sitting all the way back or anything. They'll go forward, hold possession for a little bit, but they just don't seem. They seem like they're playing not to lose in some of these second halves when they have a lead, rather than playing to win.
I think there is something to be said about that, though. The fact, like, they do struggle to score goals. So it's like, maybe they brought on the third center back and, just kind of bunkered down.
It's because Hasenhüttl doesn't want them to lose their confidence. They miss one from point blank, and everyone on the team's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And Hasenhüttl's like, whatever. We're just going to have to play defense, I guess.
Yep. So, pretty much that's the game. 1-0 Southampton. Hold on to the victory. Good win for them. They've come across a good run of form. And
they're getting hot.
That did it for Mr. Dean Smith.
Yeah. Unfortunate. It's one of those things. I think a lot of Villa fans kind of wanted him out just given the recent form because he can't afford to go down. But do you think he would have kept him? I think he would have. I think Villa's squad is good enough.
Yeah.
I think Dean Smith is a quality enough manager to keep him up. But I get sacking him. I mean, because there's a chance that he would have went down. The problem is if you give him another game or two, we have this stretch coming up from kind of middle towards end of November all the way through like middle to end of January, and there's a ton of games.
Yeah.
So if you give him one or two more games and then it's not working out anyways, then you have to sack him, bring in another guy. Whereas if you sack him now, you get this international break. You can train with the new manager, get some ideas down.
Yeah,
He gets a feel for the squad. So I think this was more honestly the conservative move to sack Dean Smith here. So I can't blame Villa for that necessarily.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about that. The training, too. If you bring in a new manager during, like, December, there's not that many training sessions in December for you to implement any sort of ideas.
Yeah.
So you got to do it now, like you said, international break. Get a plan in place.
Mm-hmm.
Start picking up some points. Maybe get a good, managerial boost.
Yeah.
And if you get that boost for a month, if that month is December or January,
Yeah.
That'll get you a lot of points.
Good stretch. Absolutely.
And yeah, I agree. I don't think they would go down. Not in the
There's
league this
too
season.
many. There's
Yeah.
a lot of bad teams.
So, moving on to
The big one.
the Manchester Derby.
Yeah, it's, coming in, City obviously favored. United backs against the wall. Was interesting to see what happened. United go with their 3-5-2 meme tier lineup that they've been rocking last couple games. De Gea, Lindelof, Bailly, Maguire, no Varane, out injured. Fred, Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Scott McTominay, Ronaldo, and Greenwood up top. As far as City go, Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Stones, Cancelo. I know we were wondering if it'd be Stones or Ake. Ended up being Stones. Good call, Sam. Gundogan, Rodri, De Bruyne, Gabby Jesus, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden up front. Jack Grealish dropped from the team.
I was very surprised to see that.
I don't know. It's just not going for him right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the City style play is really technically going right now either. So it's hard
That's
to
true. Yeah.
know who that's on.
Yeah. It lists the United lineup as a 3-5-2, but in reality,
It was a 5-3-2.
It was like 5-4, just kind of like a line in their own half.
Yeah,
It was bad.
it really was. They were just pressed back the entire match from the get-go. City were just piling it on. And then a little bit like that Liverpool game where it's like, yeah, City was piling on, but when United went forward, when they did have a chance, they were still good chances. Maguire had a chance on I think 5 or 6 minutes and heads it over.
Yeah.
Free header.
Yeah, kind of reminiscent to the game against Liverpool.
It's like if they take that chance, maybe City are pressing to get one and they're not at their best because we've seen that from City playing behind.
Absolutely. But starts off 7th minute, Eric Bailly, own goal. Nice ball whipped in from Cancelo.
This is another one of those games where guys are being left on an island. Wan-Bissaka and Shaw, mainly Wan-Bissaka, it just felt like it was always 2v1.
Yeah.
And they were just working him down the flank and getting wide to get the ball in. He couldn't never get out there. Yeah, if you looked at the heat map of this game of where guys are, Cancelo is just a good chunk inside of United's territory the entire match. Just posted up.
Yeah, I think that's part of the thing is the chemistry between Cancelo and Grealish isn't really there, and they kind of work against each other in a way because they both want to be in that same space.
They want to be the guy making the run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they just haven't figured out a way to really fit them in, both. But United, they do get a good spell of possession, kind of around the 20th to 30-minute mark. Ronaldo has a volley saved. It's just times like these where you simply have to convert any chance that you get.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to get very many.
Yeah, the wide play in to the center. City were struggling to deal with that for the couple chances United did have. Ronaldo able to find space. Nice shot, unfortunately, just right at Ederson. And then Greenwood not able to get up on the follow-up. Good defense by City to clear that away. But, yeah, with this one, after that, City was just piling it on in terms of the pressure. They were just able to go through the middle of the park, and then they get it out wide, and then they were able to pick apart how they wanted to attack you. A lot of times they're looking to try to strike from the top of the box, and as evident with that Cancelo, kind of dipping weird shot that he had that they had to hit over.
Yep. City get a second one just before halftime. Bernardo Silva gets on the end of the ball at the far post, squeezes it in there, just past De Gea. That one really should have been saved.
Yeah, it's hard to justify that because it's one of those ones where it's like a weird bounce and it's close, but it really should have been given how slow it was. And then Shaw, like we said, with this wide defending, just was not good in this game.
Yeah.
So he's got to be there to at least put something on Foden. He's not. Foden gets that little weird flick on. But De Gea had a bunch of big big time saves.
Yeah,
in the first
absolutely.
half, I thought, to keep them even in it, including a potential almost own goal from Lindelof.
Yeah.
De Bruyne had a nice rip from, I guess not really edge of the box, but kind of that corner spot. So,
Well, here's the stat of the game for you. United had more shots on their own goal than they
Yeah.
did on City's.
yep.
If that doesn't sum it up, then I don't know what will.
Yeah. 2-0. City feeling comfortable. This is what they can do against these big teams. Sometimes they just come out. If they have the right mindset, they're just able to suffocate you, and you're not able to do a ton in attack. And if you are, you better take your chances, because if you don't, City's at least scoring one, if not more.
Yeah, City just really did a good job even setting up defensively. You know, they didn't have all of the ball in the second half, but they really limited United to what they could do simply by the shape that they had. And then when they did have the ball, they were just maintaining possession the whole time, giving United absolutely no chance whatsoever to come back into this game.
No, and that's kind of evident. I mean, there really was only, I think there was 2 chances, but the first one wasn't that great. It was around like the 60th minute mark, I believe, but I can't fully remember. All I remember is the Foden chance late where he hits the post,
Yep.
clear on net, and that's just, again, coming from that wide flank, and he's in on net. De Gea, I don't think he got a touch to it. It just naturally hit the post. So, yeah, they just did a tremendous job breaking down United's midfield, and it's, I mean, you would think just throw a bunch of people in midfield and it'll work. Not in this case. City have so much quality, and they have plenty of players in midfield.
I was disappointed. Crystal Palace laid out a formula for United that they could have followed. Just like press Rodri when he gets the ball, try and hit him on the counter quick. I mean, pretty much they were doing the same thing the way they were sitting back, except they weren't pressing at all. Just if you allow City to have that kind of possession, it's over.
Yeah, there's not going to be much hope for you. I would say the one thing in this game that really I thought helped City, and it's less about Grealish and more about who took his place. They kind of pushed De Bruyne forward rather than be in midfield.
Yeah.
And in that midfield spot De Bruyne was in last game, Ilkay Gundogan. They need Gundogan in the lineup. He is one of the most crucial components to this team of linking defense to midfield and midfield to attack, and even just joining the attack, as we've seen last year with him scoring so many goals. There's times where they try to rely on Rodri, and yeah, sometimes they get away with it against bad teams. But then, like last week, they couldn't even get away with no Gundogan against Crystal Palace. So
Yeah.
just massive component to their team. Going forward, outlook for each team. City, another big result. They've beaten Chelsea at Chelsea, drew with Liverpool at Liverpool, beat United at United. They're taking care of the big boys. Now they just need to focus on the smaller ones.
Yeah, you would think on paper it'd be easier to beat the smaller teams, but it just seems like they can't get themselves motivated for these matches against clubs like Southampton or Burnley or, whatever, Crystal Palace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a issue because most of the time you're going to be playing teams that you should beat.
Yes.
You're not always playing the top
It's not a
four,
glamorous.
Big shining lights
Yeah.
derbies.
Exactly.
You got
It's
to
not-
grind out victories.
Not every night's a Wednesday night in the Champions League. As some people say, sometimes it's a rainy, cold night in Stoke.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As far as United go,
Ole's still at the wheel. He survived.
I can't believe it.
I think at this point they're like, oh, we don't have Conte to fall back on, so now who would they even bring in? Pochettino? Try and get him to
Prime
them
away
over?
from PSG.
Yeah.
Zidane was always thrown around.
Yeah, I don't
see
see that
that. Yep.
happening.
I don't either. I don't know what they do. Maybe they just have to accept they're going to maybe qualify for the Champions League.
Yeah.
And they have to adjust their expectations and stuff. Maybe look to bring in a midfielder in the winter window to see if that can boost their chances of, the 1% title chance they have now. Otherwise, yeah, I think they have to just accept that they're going to have to focus on the Champions League.
Well, they also have secret weapon Jadon Sancho, right wing back. So
that was great.
Stay tuned for that.
He looked good. He looks good every game. Moving on. Surprise of the week.
Yes. I knew it was coming.
Brentford, Norwich. Brentford's lineup, we got Fernandes, Pinnock, Janssen, Xhaka, Rico, Henry, Norgard, Canos, Jensen, Janalt, Tony, and Buemo. As far as Norwich go, we got Kroll, Aarons, Gibson, Williams, Obamadeli, Kieran Dowell, Norman, Rashica, Lees Malou, Kenny McLean, Teemu Pukki.
Finally, Norwich changed their lineup. They go with one up front.
Yes, just load up the midfield.
Oh, music to my ears.
What can you say? They got to listen. And you know who listened to this podcast? Norman. He didn't do much for when I was believing in him. But when Sam was like, hey, he's kind of frisky guy, he's like, all right, let's go now. He comes out.
If I do.
Edge of the box, bottom corner, 6 minutes in. And just like that, Norwich have a lead comfortably, of course, with their defense. Nothing's in doubt.
I was shocked about this one because initially the ball was given away by Ivan Toney, and then Norman just walks right past him, and Toney puts in zero effort to ratify his mistake. It's like, man, if you give up the ball like that in the dangerous position, you better be sprinting. When I see you walking back like that,
yeah,
and then he goes on to score, it's
I don't know. With this one, Brentford have a chance early on, even before Norwich score. Don't take advantage of it. And then, I don't know, there's that weird Tony tackle issue going on, and they had to be separated, and it just had a weird vibe to this game. And Norwich was all about it because that's the only chance they have to win.
Yeah.
But this is probably one of, if not the best games they've looked since the Arsenal game, which they didn't look completely terrible in.
Yeah.
But
who was that game where Sargent had those chances?
Brighton.
That was Brighton. Yeah, they looked decent in that game.
I'd say they look better in this game.
Yeah, for
sure.
sure. Yeah, I think the midfield five just suits him way better, obviously.
I think a lot of this game came down to one man, Newcastle legend, Eredivisie legend, Tim Krul.
He
was killing it out there. He was nuts. The save on Norgard from 2 feet away was... I don't know what to say. Norgard didn't get a ton on it, but I mean, it has to be saved.
Yeah, it was a very nice save. Point blank.
Yeah. I just felt like Norwich were able to actually play fast, I guess, in this one.
Yeah, it seems like they were playing how you would expect them to play. Try and hit on the break, use pace to your advantage. Guys like Rashica and Pukki and...
Yeah, this was by far Rashica's best game, I thought.
Yeah, for sure.
He was actually on the ball, sending in crosses, having passes that are actually doing something, leading to shots.
That's why it's just confusing to me why there was so much insistence on playing Josh Sargent for so many games. It's it's Josh Sargent. It's not like you're United and you have to play Ronaldo.
Yeah.
It's Josh Sargent. You can drop him. It's okay. You're allowed to.
You spend that money on him, you got to play him. Speaking of the striker who has done nothing for them this year, Teemu Pukki, brought down from behind on the counter. He kind of looked like he was just going for a penalty a little bit. It was a foul, but it did look like he was kind of just looking for it.
Yeah, I think he knew he had the advantage over Charlie Good, who got subbed on for Zanka.
Yeah.
And you could tell he just had the pace to beat him.
Mm-hmm.
And he just got past Good. And, pretty clear penalty, I would say.
Yeah. Slots it 2-0.
At that point, Norwich are like, oh my God, we can score 2 goals? Wow. The fans were going absolutely mental.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be too if I was sitting through
Watching
Norwich.
that, watching that sadness unfold on the field. So 2-0 at half. Brentford come out, and it's a lot like that Burnley game. It was kind of like that before the end of the first half too, but it's that where they're just really putting the pressure on. And I mean, part of it's, Burnley is going to sit back and if they have a lead, and then Norwich obviously eventually, since they got 2, we're bound to just sit back. But I don't know. Even Norwich then, they had chances too.
Yeah, Pukki could have added a third right after halftime. Nice run up from Williams pass to Pukki, but just got it all wrong at the final moment. And then
The offside goal.
this kind of changed the game for me right here. And Bomo thinks he scored, reviewed, called offside. Just,
49th minute, that's so much time to get one more against Norwich.
Exactly.
That if you score there, it's like, and then Norwich is just like, oh God.
Yeah.
Right after half, we concede. This is bad.
Right. And then you have Tim Krul coming up big, almost an identical save to the one earlier in the game on Norgard again.
Yeah.
Pretty
It was
crazy.
a little more elevated of a shot,
Yeah.
but pretty much point blank.
And then Brentford, they do pull one back. Rico Henry, absolutely marked by no one.
That marking
at the
was
back
so
post.
bad.
Nice little ball in there from Godos, the substitute.
Yes.
So they pull one back. They're pushing for the equalizer. Just can't get it.
Yeah, they just kept putting pressure on in the second half, but I mean, Norwich can only not mark a guy at the far post for a tap-in so many times, surely. So, and it's just a matter of taking advantage of the chances that they had early on. Weren't able to.
I got to say this, though. The center back pairing of Omabamidele and Gibson, that is a very nice center back pairing. I got to say, they looked
Are you sure?
really nice out there.
What about Grant Hanley?
I think Omabamidele, I think he's like the next young talent to come through the league. Like, he's going to be sought after by some bigger clubs. You can just tell, like, his natural ability. I mean, he's only 19, and he plays like he's 27 years old.
Or is it because he has 4 things you like? Obama, Delhi, he plays for Norwich, and he's Irish.
Well, yes, he's ticking all the boxes. But he just plays with so much confidence. And when you have a young player who does that, it's just great to see. And you can tell that they're going to do well. I think it was kind of similar with Smith Rowe. Like, he came out against Chelsea and looked great. Like, he wasn't afraid of the big stage at all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's always worth giving your youth players a shot when you're either safe from relegation, going nowhere, or it's like early on in the year, but you're more likely to get relegated. It's like, find out what you have. I mean, I don't know what else Norwich would be doing at this point. Well, Grant Hanley, you might as well loan him out every year to just a Championship club.
Yes, Champions League, Barca, Real Madrid,
Yes, they need Grant
Juventus,
Hanley.
Bayern. Yeah.
Your guy Josh Sargent had the most like awkward looking, weird, like car crash of a chance possible.
That's
I
what
don't
he
know
does.
That was.
Yeah. Norwich, though, they
2-1.
hold on for the win.
Good for you, Norwich. Even if it comes at the expense of good guys, Brentford.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. You could just sense that one win, popping out of nowhere.
Remember how we talked about managers were getting sacked this week? Daniel Farka, he did something Norwich is allergic to, and that's winning, and he gets sacked.
Yeah, get out of here. We're trying to break records here, Daniel.
Going forward, Norwich, as of now, have appointed Frank Lampard as manager.
Solely to play Billy Gilmore. That's the only reason he was hired.
Hopefully he gets Cantwell in there. I don't know what to make of Lampard, only because he was at Chelsea. No expectations that one year. Gets him Champions League qualification. And then the next year he comes out and he's just kind of middling kind of struggling at times. Did well in Champions League, gets sacked. And then before that, when he's at Darby, relative to the Championship, he had a good squad. He was getting them in the playoff play-ins. So, I don't know. He hasn't, relative to like which league he's been in, he's never really had like poor quality players. So, I'm interested to see about that. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, respect for him to actually taking this job. I mean, it seems like something that most managers wouldn't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's kind of safer in a way because the expectations are pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, they've kind of dug themselves quite the hole to come out of. So really, it's like, well, they get relegated, you expect it. Or they pull something out and it's like, wow.
The only way it's bad is like if he lost like 15 straight games. Like no draws or anything, just straight up lost 15 in a row. Then people will be like, all right, this is terrible. As far as Brentford, kind of slipping down the table. They got to get it back up. Performance is still pretty good, not quite as good as early in the year. Do you have any fixes for them? Any hints for Thomas Frank as to what he should maybe do? I think he's got to get Mbeumo and Tony clicking again, mainly.
Yeah, I think their main thing when they're struggling is that they're not really connecting the midfield to the forwards and getting them involved.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you're getting like Ivan Toney on the ball, like he's just going to make things happen.
Yeah.
But at this point, they're just kind of struggling. They have possession, but they don't really do that much. And they've also looked kind of weak at the back.
Yeah, sometimes they're a little too reliant on set pieces and dead balls to get their chances in. Which, I mean, if you're amazing at that, props to you. That's really good. You need to do that. But I don't know. I feel like they've been a little more reliant on scoring from that compared to creating chances from open play. And I think, I agree. They haven't been, ever since that Ayer injury.
Yeah.
It kind of went down a little bit. And Pinnock, since then, too, has been banged up once or twice. So, maybe use the international break, get healthy, get fully focused, and then go on a great run for December, January.
Yeah, the way they were playing when they had Ayer and they were able to push him like way up the field and just kind of pass down that right-hand channel and really work it down that side, it looks so much better than what they're trying to do now. I mean, now it's pretty disconnected and stuff, whereas before it was a little bit more connected, faster tempo, using the width that you have, but also being defensively sound as well.
Yeah, definitely not getting Mbeumo and Tony in space enough, I think, is the main thing for sure.
And there is an argument to be said, one or two things go differently in this game, and they could have
drawn or maybe even
got
won.
a win, yeah. So
moving on, speaking of draws, the one surprising result from Chelsea's 4 matches that they had since last international break. Chelsea, Burnley, Mendy, Rudiger, Christensen, Silva, Jorginho, Conte, Chilwell, James, Barkley, Hudson-Odoi, Havertz. Thomas Tuchel is
he's asking for it.
Really taking the piss, going full shithouse out here with Chelsea's lineup. Pope, Lowton, Taylor, Tarkovsky, me, Goodmanson, Brownhill, McNeil, Westwood, Chris Wood, and Maxwell Cornet. This one, Chelsea in the first half, I guess just pretty much most of the game, they were just piling it on.
Yeah,
Their system was fine. It didn't matter who was out there until it actually came to taking chances, and Hudson-Odoi was not taking chances. I thought Ross Barkley played well at setting up chances, and then when he had to take them, it's not very good because it's Ross Barkley.
Yeah, that's always going to be an area that you look at this lineup and like, okay, well, who's going to score the goals?
Yes.
And like you said, Chelsea absolutely dominated throughout almost the entirety of this game. But really kind of the key story of this match was the inability to really just
put your chances away
in the second half, put the game away. So the first half, 4th minute in, Hudson-Odoi has a early shot saved by Nick Pope.
Nick Pope, great game.
Great game for Nick Pope. He's really been coming into form the last few games.
Yep.
It's kind of been more of what we're used to.
Yeah, his problem is staying healthy a lot of times.
Yeah.
And then he gets out of form and he's got to get back in form. But no,
Yeah.
I think he's one of the 3 best English keepers for sure. I don't think that's a stretch.
All right, name him.
Right now?
Yeah.
Ramsdale, Pickford, Pope.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
I agree. Very nice.
Alex McCarthy maybe over Pope.
Great success.
Yeah, it's just Chelsea's system was still clicking.
Yeah.
I'd say the main thing, even when you get results like this when you're Chelsea, is last year, remember when Chelsea with Tuchel coming in, it would be like stretches where they'd look like this, and then they would just fall off.
Yeah.
It just feels like for virtually the entire game now they look like this. They don't really fall off that much.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Tuchel's able to incorporate these guys. And I get squad rotation and stuff, but man, it's tough when you're... And I know Barkley played well, but it's still Ross Barkley. I know Hudson-Odoi is getting on the end of these chances. It's still Hudson-Odoi.
Yeah.
They got to find a way to get their talented guys out there. And I know they're dealing with a lot of injuries, so it's not like Lukaku can be out there, but... And Pulisic just coming back, so you can really only sub him. Mount's still apparently not healthy.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I know he had that wisdom tooth thing, but it's like, oh my
That
gosh.
was a great video.
It was a great video. He's talking like Harry Kane. If you haven't seen it, look it up. But they do score around the 30th minute. Kai Havertz.
Yeah, that was a really nicely worked play there. Conte to James, whipping the cross to Havertz, free at the back post.
Is Reece James the second best defensive playmaker in the Premier League behind Trent Alexander-Arnold, or is there someone else you'd probably put over him? 3 goals, 4 assists on the year so far.
I mean, there's Ben Chilwell.
Oh my gosh,
Just scoring
Chilwell.
bangers.
There's another guy in this game. I don't even count Cornet as I don't know what he is. He's like his own thing because people list him as a forward, but he's really like a wing back. But he's all over the map.
He's like kind of a
He's not
inverted
anything.
winger.
He's everything.
It's like, yeah, the X factor really. He
So-
doesn't have a position.
So it goes in 1-0 at half. Chelsea just keep applying the pressure, whether it's Havertz. Thiago Silva had a chance. I think Christensen had one, but that might have been first half. Everyone was just getting their chances, just not putting them away.
Yep.
Yeah, that was the story of it. Didn't take their chances. This game was virtually the same performance against Norwich that they had, the 7-0 game.
Except they scored all their chances.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think the issue was with this one, they were getting their chances saved or missed, and then they just keep the foot on the pedal, without actually like controlling the game, and they're just trying to like go as fast as they can, try and score like as many goals as possible, and then you're actually leaving yourself more vulnerable. And you could tell Burnley started to get, a couple chances just popping up here
around
and there.
like 60th minute or so. And they weren't really great chances or anything.
No.
But then around like 75, 80th minute, somewhere in that range, they do get their goal. Kind of comes from out of nothing, but it's just brilliant passing to spray it around. And that's what, when Burnley's clicking, they're actually able to connect on their long balls.
Yeah.
And this wasn't your typical just straight up the wing long ball. It was across the field, pinging it around, cross in.
Westwood to Jay Rodriguez across to Vidra.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of absolutely took out the Chelsea defense.
And honestly, as much as Chelsea are going forward and stuff, I don't think if they were sitting back, I don't know if they would have had a great chance of stopping that. Those were 2 like perfect passes. Maybe they were a little more exposed, but I mean that's how you're going to pick apart the best defense in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think this one for me really showed Chelsea They need Kovacic, I think.
Yeah.
I think he just runs the show in the midfield. And I don't think it would have been allowed to get so chaotic if he was in the midfield.
There has to be... It's hard because you want to play Conte and Jorginho, but if you're doing that, you need more of an attacking presence in midfield. Ross Barkley versus Kovacic.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of it will come down to. Is Kovacic as good as what Barkley did out there attack-wise this game? Not all the time, but he does provide a little more of a defensive presence than Barkley, and I think that would have helped.
Yeah, and he can kind of provide stability to the team with his passing. Like, he can just kind of facilitate it. Whereas, yeah, Ross Barkley might be better in an attack, but you don't always want, like, full-out attack, like, 90 minutes a game.
Exactly.
You know, Chelsea would have done well to just hold the ball and kind of work it slower and try and get some better chances.
Yes.
You know,
like the opposite of what United does against, like, bad teams, where United just kind of settle for it. It's like maybe Chelsea should have went a little away from being so aggressive and kind of worked it for more efficient chances.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't know. I need to see this team with Mount and Kovacic to know exactly what they are, to relate them to City. But, I mean, if you can go out there and play this well with these backups...
True.
It doesn't matter if you're dropping points to Burnley. So it goes 1-1. As far as Burnley, go Stamford Bridge, get a point, have a nice goal.
Especially after you were getting absolutely destroyed.
Yes, that game was definitely deserved for 3 points for Chelsea. But, you know, for Burnley going forward, they're still building off that momentum. Brentford win, now Chelsea draw. They got to keep it going.
Yeah, props to Burnley for not, like, just getting discouraged. I mean, they were still running, you know, in the 60, 70,
could you imagine if you
minute.
weren't with Sean Dyche as your manager, you'd be...
Got to be going after those long balls. Speaking of long balls.
Well.
Theo, pause.
Palace, Wolves, Goita, Ward, Mitchell, Guehi, Anderson, Koyate, MacArthur, Gallagher, Zaha, Sam Sky Benteke, Edward, as far as Wolves are concerned. Sa, Cody, Kilman, Saiss, Ait Nouri, another start. Neves, Semedo, Montinho, Raul Jimenez, Trincao somehow, and Hwang Hee-chan. This, I think, was Wolves' worst performance of the year.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
It was not inspiring whatsoever. They had moments where they held the ball, but I never felt like they were going to score in this game.
They were just getting outclassed all around on both sides of the ball.
Stop messing with Palace's midfield.
Yes, true that. I mean,
on my break.
Palace came out there, great energy, absolutely wonderful energy going forward in defense. Fantastic. I mean, they're on a vibe right now.
Are we sure Palace... Where would you put their midfield? MacArthur, Gallagher, and Koyate. Where would they rank?
Okay.
Top
let's
5?
Just... MacArthur has been revived into this world-class player.
I don't know what it is.
It's insane. You know, I'm thinking it has to do something with Patrick Vieira.
Yes.
You know.
Well, it has to.
Having that kind of manager, your same position, you know, can really get the best out of you. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, Palace's midfield, it's got to be top.
It's so dynamic in attack, yet...
Top 5?
Yeah. Yet their ability to get back and just bully you on defense and get you off the ball and beat you to second and third balls, it's incredible.
I would like to see MacArthur's ground covered because it seems like he is literally everywhere.
All over the place. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, so first 20 minutes, Palace really taking it to them, moving the ball forward. They didn't have amazing chances, I wouldn't say, early on.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of battling in the midfield in this game. Not a ton of spells of possession. but it was always seemed to be Palace winning the midfield battle. And yeah, Palace, they're just always buzzing all over the pitch.
Yeah. It's so different than what they were last year, where they were just so passive.
The most dull team
very dull
possible.
You come in here, you show great energy. You have Selhurst Park. The fans are absolutely rocking. And Wolves, they just look like they were kind of shell-shocked even.
Yeah, as a Wolves defender myself.
Both kinds of Wolves.
Oh, no, I can't defend that Wolves team. Palace are just, I think, right now more informed than Wolves.
Yeah.
I would say Wolves are lacking something in terms of attack from the midfield. Mm-hmm. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think that can
be. A
be.
lot of it, it pretty much has to come through Jimenez coming back and then going forward and linking it to Chan or Traore. Not necessarily Traore, because he kind of creates on his own when he gets subbed on now. Or to Trincao. In this game, I would say the only thing that was really linking, I guess, it's more defense / midfield and wingback. Ait Nouri did pretty well again.
Yeah,
we like him. He's a good
good
player. It was mainly going a lot through him. I don't know if I like that. I need a little more from Moutinho, a little more from Neves.
Yeah, I think
lately.
The issue with Wolves midfield is that they have probably one of, if not the most, or I should say least athletic midfields.
Yeah.
I mean, Moutinho is like 35 years old, and then Neves is just like not that fast.
Yeah, you need another midfielder around them to kind of be able to cover a lot of times, but they just have those two main guys. And, they've had moments this year where they've looked good, and I still rate them, but, this one, kind of a blow to them.
Yeah, I think when you come in to face a team like Palace, you really have to have good energy, and you've got to be moving the ball well. And, when you're kind of a slower midfield, it's easier for Palace to really apply that pressure.
Yeah, and really their only chances in the first half, it resulted a lot from winning some fouls and getting some set pieces, but
yeah,
they're not the best team in the air. Connor Cody can get on the end of some of them and whatnot. And speaking of Connor Cody, he wasn't really able to ping the ball around this game like he normally is used to. And that's hard because Palace are going to press you. Palace are going to, even if you get the ball off and get it to someone, a lot of times on that second or third ball, like I said, Palace were winning those. So, goes in, halftime, 0-0. 61st minute, nice passing sequence. MacArthur just waits for the perfect time to play the ball. Just maestro.
Yes.
Is he English?
Scottish.
He's the Scottish Pirlo.
Pretty
the
much.
Scottish Xavi.
Yeah, aged like a fine wine.
Great job by Zaha to keep on side here.
Yeah.
And the Wilf kind of coming into form, Sam.
That finish, though, that was like Henry-esque. Just a perfect little, just curl it around the keeper just ever so slightly on the run.
Yeah, not much Sa could do on that one.
No. That was really nice. Yeah, Zaha coming into form. You feel like Crystal Palace, their whole team is just riding a good wave.
Before the foul, Podence on for Trincao, Traore on for Semedo. Semedo lately has had better games, but this year's kind of eh. Trincao, I don't know how he gets starts. He just is not good.
He looked decent in some points in the season earlier on, but even when he looked good, it would always come down to him not being able to finish at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was surprised that he was brought back into the team after he was out of the team for a bit.
I'm wondering because you don't want to mess with it too much, because the Wolves have been clicking before this game, but I don't know, something with maybe dropping Trincao. I don't know if you want to start Podence. Podence is one of those guys that's better as a sub. Same with Traore. But it's do you add a... Because then you're just in the whole formation if you bring in a Dendonker
Yeah.
or a Hover again.
Well, they did play Dendonker a couple times.
That was more just to like rotate him in for Kilman and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with Wolves as far as Trincao. But I feel like they got to find some way to get him off the field because it's not going well. 69th minute after the subs, Ward comes in close to a pen. It ends up being a
Just
foul
outside
edge of the box after the review. Ait Nouri, like we said, good player, was doing a lot for them going forward. Pretty much their main
Yeah, that was
catalyst.
a good matchup too. Ait Nouri on Ward.
Yes, yeah. Especially he gave Ward all he could handle because he's just that little bit quicker than Ward.
Yeah.
But then, nothing comes of that. As the game goes on, Palace, they get a second one. A little deflected shot from Gallagher.
Yeah, it wasn't the nicest looking goal, but I don't think they'll be complaining about it.
No.
Especially Gallagher. I mean, he's just been
And Fuego.
doing fantastic as of late.
When everything's bouncing your way and everything's clicking, those go in rather than
true.
go wide for
Very
like
true.
a throw-in or a corner. 2-0 takeaway for Palace.
Looked fantastic. I mean, any team going away to Palace is going to have a rough time.
Yes.
Selhurst is insane.
They got to just, speaking of dropping people, can we drop Benteke?
Yeah, I don't know why he was brought in.
I mean, I guess unless you're either going for hold-up play with them or you're going for winning aerial duels in the box, because I don't know, like, what are you going to, you're not feeding him through balls. He's not really distributing. He's not getting in the open spaces to get shots away. I just don't know with that.
I don't either.
So, and then, I mean, I guess you have Ayew on the bench, but I think even Ayew, like, just having Edouard as the 9 up front, having Ayew as like a pressing forward guy who gets back, like that's more useful than Benteke, even though Ayew does nothing going forward. But Wolves, like I said, it's tough to beat Palace, especially on the road. Not going to win all of these. Can't win like 6 in a row or whatever they were going for. So they'll have to regroup, maybe make some tactical changes with Trincao.
Yeah. Pretty disappointing after the good run of form they've had to
lay just a complete egg.
Yeah.
Moving on. Last Saturday fixture. Brighton, Newcastle. Bobby Sanchez, Cucurella, Dunk, Duffy, Veltman, Lamptey, Basuma, Mwepu, Lallana, March, Trossard for Brighton. As far as Newcastle go, Carl Darlow, Kieran Clark, Lascelles, Ritchie, Kraft, Jacob Murphy, Shelvey, ASM, Isaac Hayden, Miguel Amarone, and Callum Wilson up front. With this one, it was a lot of Brighton early on.
Yeah, not surprising.
No.
That's what you would all expect.
Yes. Honestly, not many great chances until the Trossard penalty. What was your take on that? I thought it was kind of controversial for no reason. Sure, he goes down a little easy, but I mean, there's contact.
It seemed like a pretty obvious pen to me. I don't really see why it had to be reviewed for so long, but this is the Premier League in 2021. I mean, who knows what is a penalty and what isn't. But Trossard gets the goal, 1-0. Looking good for Brighton. Even though it's been a bit of a struggle, which isn't surprising. I mean, when you come up against Newcastle, especially when Newcastle is on the road, like
they're just
sitting back.
Yeah, even at home. I mean, we've seen Chelsea struggle to break them down, so it's not going to be easy for Brighton. And they don't always play like the quickest in terms of trying to break out or anything, but that would obviously be limited for them. And halftime they brought on McAllister rather than Mwepu, because I mean that just kind of fits the game more in terms of you're going to have to be in their end trying to break them down, rather than have Mwepu to kind of have that game-breaking speed out there.
Right. Was it just McAllister they brought on at half?
Yeah. It was.
They brought on Solly March.
Yeah.
Or took him
Mapai
off.
for Solly March later
Mapai
on.
for Solid March. Trying to go a little more direct with that.
I'm surprised they just didn't start that way. But I mean, they had so much success against Liverpool that it makes sense
Yeah.
to just go Trossard as like a false nine. So
Yeah.
can't blame him too much. But it's a completely different task breaking down Newcastle versus breaking down Liverpool.
Yeah, right. You're going to be playing on the counter a lot more against Liverpool, whereas Newcastle, you really got to be moving the ball around and in tight spaces, and then also having someone who can, finish those chances.
Finish, knowing where to be, when to be
Yeah.
there. So that's, you'd figure Mapai would start. But Trossard had a lot of chances this game, I thought. Well, not a lot relative to like other games, but
Yeah.
he had good chances, I should say.
Yeah,
The
for
few
sure.
he did.
Forced Darlow into the save right after halftime. And then Brighton, we've seen this kind of earlier in the season where they're trying this playing out of the back, and it's just inviting unnecessary pressure onto themselves when
Yeah.
it's like there's no reason you need to be doing this against Newcastle.
Yes, I feel the same way. I see things on like Twitter that are like stats about how like Bobby Sanchez is so good at distributing and stuff like that, and it's like playing out from the back is good. It's like not necessarily
This
when
game
when
has-
you're letting Newcastle into the game because you're
Yeah.
playing this way.
His distribution this game was really bad.
Yeah, no,
And it's been pretty bad for at least a couple games too.
just in general, he's kind of had a rough go.
Yeah.
Bobby Sanchez fan club taking a hit.
Yeah. We say that with heavy hearts.
Yes. And then the goal for Newcastle, kind of a strange goal, but falls for Hayden, who had a good game otherwise than the goal too, along with the goal. Had a good
Yeah.
game in defense. Kind of all over, making tackles and interceptions, blocking a few shots.
Yeah, so this goal came from Newcastle's best spell of possession, so not surprising that they would score on this one. Nice cross in from Richie to Kieran Clark. Gets a nod down to Isaac Hayden, who's in the right space. Finishes nicely. At that point, equalized. Brighton kind of fall apart at this point.
Yeah, they were really trying to push, holding possession late on, and then they got caught on the counter pretty
Yeah.
bad, and Wilson was in. I was surprised this one took a while to review. There was contact on him.
Yeah, there was contact. There was...
I don't like that. He was kind of, I don't know. I don't know if he could have stayed up, but it felt like he went down maybe a little easy,
Yeah.
Callum Wilson. But there's contact, so it has to be a red.
It was so weird though because Sanchez came out and was on the side of him, he wasn't even in front of him anymore.
Yeah, he wasn't ever gonna get the ball.
And it's like, oh God, what are you
He
doing?
took a terrible angle.
You look so bad. Anyways, gets sent off.
Lewis Dunk into net.
Lewis Dunk in the net. You love to see it, honestly.
I wish they would have put McAllister in the net or something. How funny would that?
That
have
would
been?
be great.
And they're like, we can't let one of our tall center backs go off. We need him to win headers, so we're gonna put Alex McAllister in net. Finishes 1-1. Good result for Newcastle.
Yeah, pretty disappointing at the end. Newcastle didn't test Dunk.
No.
Shelby could have tried to just pop something on net.
Graham Jones is just thankful he got 1 point as a manager.
That's true.
Eddie Howe, they kept cutting to him. He's like, man, this team kind of stinks.
Yeah. And
Eddie-
then they scored, and he was like, hey.
Eddie Howe is like, I conceded a lot when we were as a Bournemouth, and I think I'm going to concede potentially even more here at Newcastle. But, as far as Brighton go, did anyone stand out to you besides Basuma and Trossard? I felt like Kukurea had a down game, but this
Yeah.
wasn't really his kind of game.
No, definitely not. He's more of a play kind of on the break. Yeah, I wasn't super impressed by anyone on Brighton. It was just kind of one of those games. They've had it before where they struggle to create chances.
Very much like the Norwich game.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard when you're facing Newcastle, but to kind of fall apart the way that they did in the second half.
Especially since they had the lead at least,
Yeah,
and their defense isn't terrible at it.
pretty disappointing.
Yes. Moving on, Arsenal, Watford, Ramsdale, White, Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Tavares, Saka, ESR. Maitland-Niles gets a start. Lakanga, Lacazette, and Aubameyang also in there. As far as Watford are concerned, Ben Foster, Danny Rose, and Kulu first start. Craig Cathcart, Kiko Femina, Ozan Tufan, Sissoko, Sarr, Dennis, Kuchka, King. What were your initial thoughts on this game?
Initial thoughts, I was pretty concerned about the Maitland-Niles Lakanga midfield for Arsenal. And then for Watford, I was happy that they're
The 5.
rocking with the 5.
The 5.
Yeah.
Got to go back to the 5. Yeah, it kind of starts off Arsenal, like they always do, put the pressure on. They have a chance. They score. Saka's offside.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a weird play, just in general, that Lacazette couldn't get the chip, but it somehow fell to Aubameyang, who then just passed it to Saka.
Yeah, who's offside, because he was behind the keeper, but there was
Only one
the
defender back.
So
yeah,
that was a little weird. And then, it's kind of Arsenal trying to work it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't look all that great, honestly, like in terms of creating any chances or anything.
No, they really didn't have much in a attack in the first half. I'd say one guy that kind of stood out, the only guy that really kind of stood out was Tomiyasu. Looked decent, but other than that, it wasn't too inspiring out of Arsenal in the first half. But they get a lifeline, 34th minute. Danny Rose is out here clotheslining people for no reason. They have no chance to do anything.
And not getting a yellow card for it either.
This was such a weird game.
It was
watch.
very strange. Yeah.
Lacazette taken down, penalty. Aubameyang steps up. He's done this before.
Yeah.
He just takes such shit penalties, like 50% of the time.
Yeah, he should not be taking penalties.
Yeah, for my fantasy team, it should be Emile Smith-Rowe.
Yes.
They should actually have... Arsenal seemed like one of those teams that would have, one guy you would never think to take penalties, step up and take penalties.
Ben White.
I was going to say, Gabriel or
Gabriel,
something like that.
that'd be pretty good.
It's what is this?
No, I think Laka is a lot better penalty taker.
Well, he must have
And
been
I think
concussed. He must be concussed from
That's
Danny
true.
Rose
He was
clotheslining
ringing.
him. Good save by Foster.
Yeah. Big save.
Yeah, he had one late in the first half, too, on Gabriel.
Almost scored from the corner again.
Yes. Yeah, Watford in this game, going forward in attack, the passing wasn't as bad as it has been at times, but it wasn't too inspiring going forward. Their one chance kind of came when, gosh, who was that? Was it Gabriel who gave the ball away? Someone gave the ball away, and Kuchka took a rip from the edge of the box, and Ben White blocked it, and it just went wide.
Yeah.
Other than that, they didn't really have much going in attack. They really couldn't get Sarr going. It's one of those things where if you're Watford, it's like, damn, this sucks. We can't get Sarr or Dennis going. But then, the other trade-off is, well, they can't get Saka or Smith-Rowe going. Mm-hmm. So it's it sucks, but at the same time, it's you just have to take it if you're Watford.
Yeah, this is kind of a performance I expected out of Watford, for them to come in, kind of sit back, low block, play a gritty kind of performance, winning a lot of fouls, maybe going down a little easy and time wasting and whatnot, and just making it overall difficult. And then in terms of attack, just not having very much going and hoping maybe, you catch Arsenal on the break, once or twice. But really, your main goal coming into this game is just going to be defend first and foremost.
0-0 at half. They come out. Arsenal putting the pressure on again. I'd say even more so than the first half. It at least looked like it had more of a purpose at the start of the second half. Weird play. Someone on Watford, I can't remember, went down. They played the ball out. Arsenal get the ball. They don't play it back to Watford.
Yeah.
They just keep playing. And then they end up, there's another guy. And then Sarr went down. Mm-hmm. Watford's standing around looking for them to play the ball out. They don't. Ben White dribbles up. Was it a layoff or was it tackled off him? I don't remember. But it goes to Emile Smith-Rowe. He pops the shot, goes in.
This is like Smith Rowe's ideal thing is just to get on the end of these loose balls and then just take a rip.
Ben
Seems
White
like
didn't
every
get an
goal he
assist.
scores is like that.
They give away assists. I think Ben White probably should have got one there. But bad guy Arsenal not doing the sportsmanship thing, playing the ball out.
Ranieri was fuming.
Yes.
You know, I get the argument. Yes, I think Arsenal should have given them the ball back. But there was an argument to be made that Danny Rose played it out very quickly when he knew that he was going to be under pressure and kind of getting like the free pass. He's like,
I guess. I mean,
He's
it
like-
seemed like no one's around him. I would say the main thing is like by the time he played it out, Tufan was like up to his knees. It seemed like.
I think there was going to be pressure. If you watch it back, you'll see there was going to be pressure. And then
Well,
he goes,
that's
I
asking
got a
me
free
to
out.
go back and watch this game, and that I will not do.
But anyways, I think it was evened out by the way that Watford were playing with kind of like their gamesmanship of just going down like super easy and following Arsenal.
You can say that if you want.
I am
Everyone
going
plays
to
the
say
ball.
that.
Everyone plays the ball out. Doesn't matter.
Well,
As
watch
it goes
back
on.
again.
As it goes on, Odegaard subbed in, makes stuff happen. What he does, Aubameyang tap in, offside for Aubameyang.
Odegaard was so pissed.
He was not happy.
It's like, just don't touch it. It looked like it was going to go in either way.
It did.
So that's pretty frustrating, especially this game where it's been pretty tough to score.
That plus Odegaard not always playing now. He wants to go out there, make an impression.
Yeah.
Could have a goal or an assist. Either way, doesn't matter because it's touched when it's offside.
And then Arsenal, for some reason, instead of
Arsenal-
just controlling the ball, they're like, no, we don't do that around here. We just try and score or we don't have the ball at all.
Arsenal loved to just like piss their pants in defense in the second half for some reason. Like they look so good for like 60 minutes, and then even in this game they look good for 80 minutes, and then it just like they just like collapse. I don't get it. Not like fully collapse because it doesn't result, but like that play by King where White's going to the ball and Ramsdale's going to the ball, and there's a clear miscommunication, and Josh King ends up with the ball and has an empty net.
Oh my God, that was so stressful.
That that was
But had a heart attack right there.
like you've outclassed them this whole time, and then you almost blow it there.
Yeah, and then anytime Arsenal gets the ball, they're like, okay, we need to attack. Possession, no. Attack, yes. Even at the end of the game, you're like, okay, just take it to the corner. And then Tavares is like,
Actually, I'm gonna cut it middle and get a second.
I don't think
Even
I will.
then, like he had a pass to like someone, I don't remember who it was, edge of the box.
Yeah.
That could have popped a shot. Instead, he's like, I'm gonna cut it back right here for no reason. Cuts it back, gets a second yellow. It was almost like a video game, like the way he flipped with the foul. Kuchka,
Yeah.
he was just not having it.
Yeah.
Kind of unlucky. 1-0 to Arsenal. I would say deserved.
Yeah.
1-0 felt right.
Yeah, I think so. I think it still shows that Arsenal has work to be done, but, you're grinding out results.
Yeah.
What can you
Yeah,
say?
definitely not the prettiest result. I think if Arsenal played a little better of a team, they might have got caught out. But you know
Yeah.
what? Their match that day was Watford, and they took care of what they had to. Watford, on the other hand, it went to the 4-5-1. It wasn't pretty, but it looked better. I will say for Watford, Sissoko is actually playing half decent for him now. Under Ranieri. He was looking very poor under Chisco. Under
Yeah.
Ranieri, he's kind of at least serviceable out there.
Yeah, I felt like their kind of approach to the game was decent enough. It just, ultimately.
Bounces didn't go their way entirely.
Yeah.
But speaking of bounces not going a team's way, it has nothing to do with this game. So
The bounce didn't go our way watching this game.
the bounce didn't go. The bounce went away from watching this game. It went to check to see what
Deflated.
else is on. Everton, Tottenham, Pickford, Keane, Digne, Godfrey, Coleman, Allen, Fabian Delph, Damari Gray, Anthony Gordon, Richarlison, Townsend. As far as Tottenham go, Lloris, Romero, Dyer, Ben Davies, Reguilon, Højbjerg, Royale, Skip, Heung-min Son, Harry Kane, Lucas Moura. So the 3-4-3 out of Conte, the back three, Romero, Dyer, and Davies. Especially, the two I get, two of the three, it's like you don't really have much going on. Why is Davies the third choice?
Well, I'm not too sure about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't fully understand that. And then Emerson Royale, I'll never understand why he plays. This game was so hard to watch, and it was hilarious because it definitely felt like a Conte game.
Oh yeah,
he was trying to play like we've seen him play with Chelsea.
Mm-hmm.
And the wingback quality was just so ass compared to his time at Chelsea. He's like, let me have Harry Kane. No, it's okay. He's just going to put this perfect ball over here for Reguilón, and he just skies it. Or he'd be like, oh, we're going to have more. Oh, he makes a perfect cut. We worked it perfect, got a 2-on-1. He got up the flank, and he cuts it across, and Emerson Royale's there to just head it over, not even near the target.
This game was a disgrace to football. I'll say that. It was painful. Just two very poor sides. Tottenham trying to play out of the back. It looked horrendous.
They held the ball.
They held the ball.
That's 1 out of 10 stars in terms of achievement.
Yeah, they'd get to the halfway line, and then they're like, well, I don't know what I'm going to do here. And then eventually Everton did get some more possession, and it was kind of more just Tottenham kind of confused on what do we do.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening with Everton. I think a lot of it is the Calvert-Lewin just not being in there, and the drop-off is Rondon a lot. Obviously, this game. Yeah, Doucouré too. But, yeah, I mean, maybe that's just it. You not having those two guys is put so much pressure on Townsend and Demarai Gray to do everything in attack that it's almost an impossible task.
Yeah, especially, Townsend's strength is getting in space and then crossing it centrally. And you don't have anyone who's a threat centrally, really. Yeah,
you don't. He can't create the space on his own because everyone's marking him because he's the main guy.
Yeah.
You don't want him to be the main guy. Unfortunately, they're in that spot where Anthony Gordon is now their secondary playmaker, and he looks better than a few of the guys out there. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
Fabian Delph wasn't bad, but he didn't link up very well with guys, I thought. They hardly ever got Richarlison the ball.
Yeah.
If ever.
Mm-hmm.
So, just eyesore of a game to watch. 0-0 at half. Tottenham come out still possessing the ball.
Mm-hmm. But doing absolutely nothing with it.
Well, what do you want from them? Everton doing what Everton do. They sit back. They absorb the pressure. I wanted for my team of the week. I looked at it. I was like, can I even put Keane in the team of the week or anything? Because he's been okay. But it's Tottenham, I never felt like they're going to score. So what am I even doing?
Yeah, no, not allowed. Everton get their chance on the break. Richarlison threw on goal, taken down by Lloris. Penalty is given. VAR reviews it. Oh, they say Lloris got a slight bit of the ball. What are your thoughts on this call?
Yeah.
He did get a slight bit of the ball, but it just seemed like it should have been a penalty.
I thought so.
Yeah. I hate this idea, if you graze the ball by 1 millimeter, then you're immediately
exempt from
any sort of contact afterwards.
Yeah. It's a bad one. So it's reversed.
And then we have this great moment in the 68th minute. Richarlison cries for a handball. And then there's a headbutt from Romero.
Yeah.
And there's a delayed reaction. But Richarlison goes down on the ground.
Yeah.
And guess what? They replay this. The same foul. I seen Pepe do this on Alioski a couple of seasons ago, and he got a red card. Romero, no red card. Arsenal You know, everyone's out to
Everyone's
get 'em.
yeah, clearly.
Conspiracy.
Clearly. Yeah, this was the only like semi-entertaining thing minus the post hit. Your guy Doherty came on
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
out of nowhere. I mean, might as well. If there's a
lives.
wingback guy, I would play him over Royale.
Yeah.
That guy does nothing. Yeah, I would say Everton probably looked the better team in the second half. Barely, but looked the better team.
Yeah.
And then Lo Celso just comes in, hits the post. That was the only real chance, I guess, by an
right.
actual attacking player.
Yeah, Tottenham actually looked their best when they didn't try and play out of the back. They just tried to play on the counter, which is what their team is more suited for, in all honesty. They just don't have the quality to play out of the back.
We have a red card.
We have a red card.
Mason Holgate.
Shortly after getting subbed on.
That was so ass.
What was he doing?
Oh
my God.
The game's almost over, and you're just doing this.
So many red cards lately.
0-0. Everton, I think you just have to take it. I mean, you kind of have to stay afloat until you get Doucouré and Calvert-Lewin back. Simple as.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to watch Norwich tier football pretty much.
Yeah.
Tottenham perspective, first game for Conte. Disappointing, but I mean, the quality in terms of where he needs it. He needs quality in his wide players. He does not really have that.
This match just solidifies my opinion that this is going to be a terrible match for Tottenham and Conte. Like, it's just not going to work.
I don't know, like
not
what
suited for each other.
Yeah, because I don't know how is he going to get Son involved as much as Pochettino and even Jose.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Tottenham, the way their team is assembled, they look more like a counterattacking team than a team that plays out of the back. They just don't have guys who can really pass that well.
Did you know that through 11 games last year, Tottenham under Jose Mourinho were top of the table?
R.I.P. Jose.
Leeds, Leicester. This game, well, first we need the lineups. Meslier, Cooper, Llorente, Dallas, Struijk. Forshaw actually getting a start. Rafinha, Rodrigo, Harrison, Calvin Phillips, Dan James. As far as Leicester go, Schmeichel, Soyuncu, Evans, Pereira, Castagna, Tielemans, Ndidi, Soumare, Barnes, Vardy, Lookman.
Yeah, I like this lineup from Leeds here. Interesting.
Yeah, kind of load up a little more of the midfield. I mean, they have Dan James listed as the forward, but him and Rodrigo are kind of interchangeable as far as who's the furthest guy forward. A lot of times it's Rodrigo, who honestly has been looking slightly better. It's not, he's not like a complete piece of shit out there. He's actually
he
can
adds
do some
something
stuff
to the team.
Yes.
Yeah. This one gets started pretty wide open, as one
Leeds
would expect.
were piling it on.
Yeah.
Early on. Early on.
Leeds were looking kind of like that vintage Leeds.
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
They definitely were. The passing this game from Leeds was fast, and especially their long passes. They were on. They were hitting. They were able to hit it far side, work it diagonally. It actually did feel a little more like the Leeds we knew from last year.
Yeah, it was a sight for sore eyes. In the 5th minute, Harrison forces Schmeichel into the save, and then from the corner kick, Calvin Phillips almost scores at the near post.
Yeah, Schmeichel and Meslier had some stuff to do in this game for sure. They both made some pretty important saves, to say the least. Yeah, I just felt like, and then even Leicester, like, they tried to break, or when they tried to hold possession, it went into nothing. But when they tried to break, it just looked kind of sloppy. It looked like kind of how Leicester have looked this year.
Yeah,
in attack.
Yeah, it's like the threat is there, but in reality, they just don't look that good.
Yeah,
and obviously, I think it's clear to say Leeds were the better side in the first half.
Yeah, they're just not getting the service to Vardy.
Yeah, and I mean, it's so tough for Vardy. I mean, he does so well with the limited service that he has. I'm not crazy the way that they set out their lineup in this one.
I know he scores, But I don't think Harvey Barnes should start. I'll say it.
I just have an issue with having, you have Tielemans and you have Soumare, Barnes, Vardy, Lookman. Like, who's the guy in there that can, like, possess the ball in the midfield?
Yeah.
You have so many attacking players, and then when you don't have the ball, like, those guys are kind of worthless.
Yeah, it would be nice if they could have a guy like Madison who can distribute a little more. Lookman and Barnes are more like create their own shots, not create shots for Vardy. Tielemans can create shots for Vardy, but, it's not always going to be there, so you can't rely on one guy. And Ndidi, obviously, in midfield, that's your ball winner.
Right.
He's your defensive mid. He's going to be there, your anchor. And Soumare's kind of just, he in that way where he covers where Ndidi isn't and where Tielemans aren't. He's going to be there to kind of mop up. So I agree. I think Lookman and Barnes is just a little too much, not necessarily too much attack, just the wrong kind of attack to suit Vardy, your best player.
Yeah, I feel like you have kind of a lot of players that are kind of similar.
Yes.
Like Lookman and Harvey Barnes are pretty similar, and they're kind of similar to like Jamie Vardy in the terms of just like you want to push the attack, really. You don't have anyone to just like distribute the ball, like you said.
Yeah. Those guys are looking to create for themselves first before looking for others. Mm-hmm. Simple as.
I think, honestly, Soumare, I'm just not really a fan of him or how he's being utilized.
I feel like I think it's part of how he's being utilized, but I feel like it's a little overlap with Ndidi and Soumare both being out there because they're both defensive-minded. It's like if Soumare was just a regular 8 and could do a little more going forward in attack, that would be better, but he doesn't really offer that. And Tielemans, they almost have to use him rather than an 8, more as like a 10, and I don't think that's where he excels.
Yeah, that doesn't suit him.
So
anyways, 26-minute.
Leeds capitalized.
Rafinha, the free kick. We've seen this one before. He whips it in, and you think someone's going to deflect it in, but no one touches it.
He's so good at that.
And then it just gets past Schmeichel. But don't blink, because right off the kickoff, Harvey Barnes is like, don't mind if I do. Walks down to the other 90. End. That goal was very nice.
Yeah, both of them were good. Rafinha's officially just back in form. He's back to how he was playing last year, which is good. Leeds need that. And you can tell because Leeds are just playing better in general with him back.
Yeah.
Harvey Barnes, that shot, that's what he can do. He possesses a lot of individual skill to where he just pulls out the magnificent. He'll just rip shots out of nowhere.
Yeah, this one makes you think, like, where is this the rest of the game? Like, he just walked down the field and placed a perfect shot. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing.
That's because he's not your typical, just like you put him in the box and he's a goal for you. That's that's not his style. He's got to kind of create on his own. He's like Traore, except he's not quite as fast, and he's actually better at shooting.
Yeah.
Bunch of chances in between halftime and the 2 goals, but nothing too crazy as far as chances. Leeds still looked the better side as it went into half. And when it came out of half, Leeds still had a good amount of chances, but I thought Leicester started to pick it up, especially as the half went on.
Yeah, shout out Jack Harrison with the Southampton style miss.
I don't know how would it go off his knee?
Yeah.
Or was it his chest?
It looked like it was off his knee, from like 2 yards out.
That was bad.
I don't know how you missed that. Like,
unmarked.
Crazy.
It was pretty much the Rico Henry goal.
Yeah.
Is what it was, but he missed it.
Yeah.
Lookman scores, but offside.
Yeah, just very
close.
Very close. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one, it looked like it was pretty disappointing for Leicester. You think you've scored, you take the lead, then it gets ruled off after a lengthy review.
There's another one Lookman had where he sends it in, and he almost has Vardy, almost kind of deflects in off the defender, and Meslier has to make another fingertip save.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a game of inches. Either side could have easily won this game.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Meslier, 75th minute on the 1v1 with Tielemans. makes a big save.
Yeah.
Sloppy play from Liam Cooper. It has to be said.
Oh, that was bad.
Yeah.
To get caught out there.
Yeah, that was rough. And then in the 90-minute +1, Rafinha has a chance for the winner.
Bunch of shots blocked. One falls through him, gets through, just high and wide.
Yeah. Oh, tough one.
So, 1-1. I'd say it's fair, a fair result.
Yeah.
Only because both teams could have won. Should they have both won? If anything, the ultimate fair result would have been a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I think it'll be disappointing for Leeds to concede that the way that they did, just because it was kind of like you fell asleep.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't be conceding that goal, right after scoring.
Mm-hmm.
That just comes down to mental focus.
True. West Ham, Liverpool, the last one, a big one.
Chef's kiss.
Great game. You already know the West Ham side. Fabianski, Cresswell, Zuma, Ogbonna, Ben Johnson, Fornals, Bowen, Ben Rama, Soucek, Declan Rice, and Mikel Antonio. Liverpool side, Alisson, Van Dijk, Robertson, Matip, TAA, Fabinho, Henderson, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Mane, Salah, Jota. So Oxlade-Chamberlain getting a start midfield. This is what happens when we have no depth.
Exactly.
This one kind of starts off. It seems kind of innocent. There's some, a little bit of possession. West Ham, they get a corner, and then it goes in.
Yeah, just placed it in that really dangerous territory.
I was surprised that this was reviewed for so long too. About first off, is a potential handball was the review, and it's like no. If anything, it's a foul on Alisson, which I still don't think it was. His arm was up, but Alisson still could have punched it out. Mistake in the keeping.
Yeah. In
my opinion. After that, a lot of it was just Liverpool having possession, being down 1-0, trying to work it.
Yeah, it kind of settled into like the more usual kind of way the teams like to play, with Liverpool having more possession, and then West Ham looking to maybe hit on the break or, get the ball and then push it forward. Yeah,
they're quicker. really going to have to make, being up this early, I'm sure, West Ham wouldn't complain, but when you're up this early, it's going to be a lot of Declan Rice and Soucek having to work with the wide defenders and Ben Johnson and Cresswell.
Speaking of Cresswell.
Yeah, to limit Liverpool's wide attack. But Cresswell, potential
red card?
Not for me.
I would say no, too. He makes the tackle, and then his leg kind of slides on the ball into I forget who it was on.
Yeah.
Henderson?
It was Henderson because he got hurt afterwards.
Yeah, that was just kind of unfortunate the way it worked out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought West Ham's defense we've talked about how good it's been, and we're wondering if they could keep it up. This first half, they were, I thought, managing in terms of organization and shape, staying solid against Liverpool.
Yeah, and then 22nd minute, Ogbonna has to come off, replaced by Dawson. But hey, if you're going to have someone come off, it's nice having Dawson on the bench.
Dawson should be a starter for
perfectly.
most clubs.
Yeah.
Fair to say. After last year's performance, and he comes in this game, he looks fantastic.
Yep.
Speaking of fantastic, Liverpool open it up. They win a free kick edge of the box.
Oh, perfect.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, seen it millions of times. Free kick.
So good.
Little touch by Salah, gets the assist.
The way he went around like the whole wall,
just
filthy, honestly.
Yeah, Fabianski, no chance.
I got to say, though, I didn't think it was a foul. I thought Salah went down pretty easy.
It has to be talked about, because Salah, as great as he is, you would be lying to yourself to say that he doesn't dive once in a while.
Yeah.
That one, it was soft.
He made the most out of it.
Yeah, to say the least.
There was some contact, but he didn't make a
He's going to get that call. You just have to know that if you're West Ham.
Yeah.
And Liverpool make him pay.
Great chance for Antonio
Oh, that was
before
bad.
halftime.
I don't know what he's doing. He just like got ahead of himself.
Yeah, he was focused on the glory of scoring.
It's like American football when a guy like is about to catch a ball and pretty much run for a touchdown,
Yeah.
but he like turns his head too fast or something. He doesn't watch the catch in.
Yeah.
Or like a baseball player when he's like trying to turn two or something, he doesn't catch it before making the move. Just gets ahead of himself.
Exactly.
Just sad to see. 1-1. West Ham, another corner. Man, Liverpool set piece defending. What's going on there, big guy?
Yeah, you'd expect it to be better with
Van Dijk.
Van Dijk and
I mean, I guess he can't cover everyone, but
yeah, that's true.
was it Dawson or Rice who hit the crossbar?
See, it was kind of like
panned,
both.
Yeah, they panned
Yeah.
to Rice after, but I was like, was that him?
I
And
think
then
it
they
was
show
actually
both,
Dawson.
And yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought too.
I initially had it on my notes as Rice, and then I looked. I was like,
I think
I'm pretty
it's
sure that's Dawson.
Mane comes down. Great ball from out wide. Falls perfectly to Mane's shot. Kind of like the Ronaldo hit
Yeah.
earlier against City, where it's just a great shot, great work play, but it's just right at Fabianski.
Yeah, I mean, either side, and that's a
Easy.
goal. Just
Yeah.
unfortunate it went straight at Fabianski. I mean, you can't even blame Mane on that one. It was
No.
nicely taken.
Liverpool, a little sloppy at times. 67th minute, sloppy enough to where West Ham win the ball in midfield. They're breaking. Jared Bowen.
Jared Bowen, go on, son.
Fantastic game out of Bowen.
Love that guy.
He's just timed it perfectly with Fornals. Fornals in, slots it around. Ali's son, 2-1. They go up. And that's the risk you're going to take when you hold 75%, 70% possession against West Ham.
And not to mention have Oxlade-Chamberlain playing in the midfield
Yeah.
instead of a guy like Keita. Like, you could tell pretty clearly, like, Liverpool's midfield is where they are losing the game.
Yeah. To say the least. West Ham go down. Another corner. Kurt Zuma, back post, gets up. The set piece defending.
Alexander
I
Arnold's
guess
just
any dead ball.
fascinated by the ball.
That was amazing.
Couldn't take his eyes off it.
Yeah, the replay of him looking up. Kurt Zuma, big header. But then, for some reason, Jurgen Klopp goes with meme tactics and tries to use Divock Origi's magic ability to score random goals out of nowhere. He wasted it on this game,
Yeah, true.
and it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Good goal. 3-2, it finishes. Mane with the chance at the end there, but
Yeah.
couldn't score. Big result for West Ham.
Massive result for West Ham. I mean, even the commentators are saying, West Ham title contenders?
Moisey. That's what he does.
So, Hank,
Liverpool-
let me ask you this.
What?
West Ham title contenders?
No, unfortunately
No,
not.
I don't think so.
Champions League, absolutely.
They're a great team, but
We got to see their depth. We
Yeah,
have to see their depth,
exactly.
how it holds up. As far as Liverpool are concerned, you just got to hope that you'll be able to take care of games like Brighton, because you'll be playing these teams like West Ham that you're just simply not going to be able to take care of necessarily. You have to take care of Brighton, especially when you're virtually fully healthy.
yeah.
You have no choice but to.
Yeah, for sure. And I think teams are going to know that they can exploit the midfield. I mean, the way that Jared Bowen ran through the whole midfield against Liverpool, it's just,
And it wasn't just once.
yeah, not just once, for sure. Yeah. They look so good going forward, but they do have that weakness. And I think it's so even at the top, honestly, between Liverpool, City, and Chelsea. Each team is fantastic, but they all have their weaknesses and downsides.
Yeah.
You know, none of them are invincible by any means.
I still stand by it's Chelsea and City tied, and then Liverpool are a notch below that.
I think Liverpool,
On their day, they can be just as good, but this depth, I have less faith in them staying healthy the whole year than I do in Chelsea's ability to score, and then I do in Man City's motivation.
yeah,
Because those are the main things. Man City's motivation, Chelsea's ability to score and finish, and then Liverpool's health.
Yeah.
And of those three, the least I feel comfortable in betting on is Liverpool's health, because we have a track record of it. It's not like they're not deep and it just so happens that guys are getting hurt.
Yeah.
We had it all last year. We've had it previous years.
They ignored it in the transfer window to bring
These
in
guys
additional help.
Get hurt. As far as Liverpool's tactics go, they were kind of, once you get caught out in that third minute, you have to not fully throw your game plan away, but I don't think they came in thinking they're going to possess the ball for 70% of the game,
Yeah,
75%
that definitely
of the game.
changes the way the game's going to go. I mean, it kind of flusters you.
Mm-hmm.
You get hit quick.
Yeah, so that's the week. We got a team of the week right here, and I have a choice for you to decide on.
Fantastic.
And we're going to start off with it. Keeper, Alex McCarthy or Tim Krul?
I would just say Tim Krul. Shout out Norwich.
Yeah. So in net, we got Krul. For the rest of the team, we got Cancelo, Zuma, Ben White. I thought about Reece James, but Mr. Tino Livramento was just killing it out there, so we had to go Livramento. Midfield, Norman, De Bruyne, MacArthur, Hayden, Bowen.
That's a great midfield.
Up top, Adam Armstrong solely. He didn't do a ton, but he had that banger of a goal, so you got to make the team.
Yeah.
Next week's episode, we'll touch a little more on other things regarding the Premier League as its international break, but I wanted to at least ask you this question before we go, or if you want to touch on anything else. Of Xisco, Munoz, Steve Bruce, Nuno, Daniel Farke, and Dean Smith, what was the most harsh dismissal?
Okay.
It's Xisco,
Bruce,
Nuno, Farke, Dean Smith.
I think for me, it's got to be Dean Smith. I didn't think Aston Villa was playing that bad. I mean, they had some good results.
The results kind of just started going against them at the end. The performance was slipping a bit, but...
Yeah, I mean, it was always going to be tough the way, of course, you're losing Grealish, but I thought they bounced back well. They switched up the formation. It was working until it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they were kind of quick to get rid of Dean Smith.
Yeah, but like I said, I feel even though it was quick on the trigger, I still feel like that's the more conservative move given what you have coming up.
Yeah.
So
That's fair.
I would say Dean Smith was second. I think Steve Bruce is first. I didn't get that. I know they hadn't won, but what he had done the last couple years, I mean, were they playing any differently?
Yeah, I think that's a take that you and I will agree upon, but most people would probably disagree with. But yeah, I think Steve Bruce was
they look fantastic under Graham Jones. Oh, wait. They get like 2 shots a game, and they got 1 draw.
I think the thing that says it is, okay, you have Rafa before Steve Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Newcastle played that much differently. If anything, I think Newcastle played better under Steve Bruce than Rafa.
Yeah.
But of course, Rafa, everyone loves him.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to, applaud him as being great. And Steve Bruce, he's kind of this unattractive manager.
Yes.
English. So people are going to, write him off. Even though, at times they were playing really nicely, like at the end of last season.
We'll always have an appreciation for Steve Bruce and Big Sam.
Yeah, I mean, you don't get to 1,000 games in the Premier League by being just a complete idiot. So,
obviously, Farke's probably the most deserved. Is Nuno second? I think he has to be second for most deserved to get sacked. Even though there's not much he could do about it. The players just didn't believe in him. The other option would be Xisco, and he didn't really deserve it. He had him at 15th or 14th?
I think...
Would you say Xisco or
Xisco
Nuno deserved it more to get sacked?
I would say Nuno because the expectations are a lot higher for Tottenham, whereas Xisco, I mean, they were doing, kind of decent.
Yeah, they got a couple wins.
And then they're like, okay, we're Watford. It's about time. The clock struck 4, so we got to hire a new manager. Nuno was just hired to be fired. It happened faster than I expected, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah, my prediction was that he would still see it out somehow until this international break, unfortunately,
yeah,
was incorrect. But
but
I still don't even understand that. Like, I get the players quit on him, but, like, what's the point of bringing Conte? Like, you've had so many just, like, this is the last straw lifeline managers, and
Yeah.
I don't know where it gets you.
And I think it's going to be worse before it gets better, especially if Conte is insisting upon playing out of the back.
Oh, you mean their play style?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying they're going to, like, fire Conte at the end of the year
No,
and then bring
no,
in
no.
another guy on, like, a 5-year deal.
No, I just think you're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole by trying to have Tottenham play out of the back.
It's a world-class manager, Sam. And he actually wants to come here, and we're Tottenham. We have to take this. Clearly, surely, we have to.
Instead of maybe going with a more sensible choice and trying to get Graham Potter in the offseason or something like that.
Yeah,
But, Tottenham's going to do what Tottenham's going to do.
yeah, precisely.
And something about the Villa thing makes me curious. Like, did Villa really want to sack Dean Smith, or did they really want to hire Steven Gerrard?
I don't know. I could see that angle, but the only thing is that they were initially, I saw the rumors with the Danish coach from this last tournament. He's managed Mainz before, but I could see that, but I would disagree. I think that with the main thing was the fans were really on Dean Smith's ass, which I get, but at the same time,
I feel like it was kind of a Newcastle scenario as well, where it was unjustified.
Yes, I completely agree with that. Dean Smith is a good manager. He's going to land in the Premier League again sometime. I'd almost guarantee it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that 3 of those 5 were undeserved. Nuno, I don't even know if Nuno fully deserved it. That might be like a wash. If not, he slightly deserved it. But the Daniel Farke, obviously,
Yeah.
I don't know how he wasn't sacked sooner.
Right.
So, as far as Stevie G, real quick, my take with Rangers, plays fast, needs wingbacks that get forward and can attack. He at least has that. And they kind of, like I was saying, they just play kind of fast. I think his build for Villa, like their team as currently constructed, at least matches with what he wants to do. So I don't hate this hire, but the inexperience, it definitely could backfire.
Yeah, for sure, especially at this point in the season where he doesn't have too much time to get used to his team and get him playing how he wants them to before, results start piling up.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key thing for me will be figuring out how to fully utilize Buendia, Ings, Watkins,
Yeah,
Bailey.
the mix, because we knew it'd be a struggle for them to lose Grealish and then bring in these guys and sort it out.
Yeah.
And Dean Smith had some idea to sort these guys out. That's completely out the window now. You have to have someone else that's going to be able to come in and sort these guys out and how he wants to use them. So we'll see. It'll be interesting. The best thing with new managers is always to see kind of who falls off in the pecking order and who kind of steps up.
I think my issue with Villa is that their roster was kind of
Flawed.
it's flawed this season. They sold Grealish and then they're like, okay, we're just going to bring in, some good players, but not necessarily consider how they would play together.
Yeah, I feel like they had to put some thought into that. And I mean, I feel like they play fine together. I just think that, it really comes down to, I personally believe Dean Smith would have kept them up. I know they had a bad run of form. I think that he would have kept them up. I would have liked to seen what he could have done with a full year under these guys, not to mention next season he has all that time to kind of build around and get the squad ready. But unfortunately, you don't have that time. You don't have that patience in the Premier League, and you can't take things for granted, as in your status in the Premier League. So I can't fully hate on the decision, but I disagree with it.
I just think that Villa seem to always play better when one of Buendia or Bailey is on the bench.
That is true.
So
There's a little too much attack.
yeah.
As far as Lampard's concerned, kind of talked about that. it's kind of just going to be
Risk-free.
Yeah. I don't know. You think they're going to play 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3? I mean, he kind of rotated at Chelsea depending on who was even available.
Yeah.
So it really depends, but I think he'll just kind of play a generic kind of style with Norwich. I don't think he's going to be sitting back as much, but I don't think he's going to be like Farka or playing out of the back, trying to build possession.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I think it'll be more of a pragmatic approach.
yeah.
I think Frank Lampard seems to be better suited off with not like a star caliber team and just kind of making the most out of what he has.
Yeah.
So I think, it might be a good fit. There's some good young players at Norwich. So I'm excited to see what he can do.
Absolutely. Is there anything else you want to touch on for this past match week?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, folks, until next week, we're going to have a big ol' episode for you because we're not going to have an international break for a while. So we're going to have a lot of predictions, a lot of breakdowns on where teams currently stand going forward. We're going to give you forecasts on what we're looking at for each team and what to expect. So until next week, adios, mis amigos.
Thank you for listening to the Premiership Perusal podcast.
My friends.